Welcome everybody to CodeZing.org. We're going to do a level 3 project today called Best in Show. You can find the code at CodeZing.org/dog. So this one's a continuation of the web scraping stuff we were doing, but it adds a little bit of the game stuff too, so let's check it out. If you go to CodeZing.org, level 3 code, cruise down to Best in Show. So what this does is it goes out to the website for the Westminster Kennel Club, which, if you don't know, holds a competition every year to decide who is the best dog in the world. So you can see from the webpage there's a nice table of every dog, their name, their breed, and for the entire history of the competition. It's kind of funny. It's actually kind of cool. If you watch the show, it's kind of neat. See all the dogs. So this just tells you what kind of dog would you be it. So it randomly scrapes that website, pulls back all the dogs, and then picks a random one to see what kind of dog you would be. I would be a Fox Terrier, and my name would be Flornell Spicy Piece of Halliston. Alright, so that dog won in 1937, I guess, and you can go back to the website and see if that's right. There it is. So let's look at the code and see how it's pulling that information. If you go down to the bottom, click on the button and grab our code, copy, and open Spider, our Python IDE that we're using, paste that in. And let's check this out. So, import random. I think we also need I'm seeing this little notice over here, undefined request. I think we need an import requests also. So at the top we have the imports that we're using. So we're importing random again because we're going to make a random choice from all the dogs. We're importing requests to pull the information from the website. And we are also using Beautiful Soup again, which is the Python library for doing web scraping. So it takes the HTML for the web page and organizes it nicely and makes it searchable. And it's a really cool library. You might notice that this structure is a little different from BS4 import Beautiful Soup. So if you use just a full import random, you're getting all of the random methods that are included in the library. If you just want a specific one, you can do a from. So you say from the library, import just the specific methods you want. So we can do like randint is usually the one, or what are we using here? We're using probably random sample. Random sample. So we can import sample. And that just gets us this one function that we're using here. And then it changes the way you name it. Instead of having to call random.sample, you can just call sample. So that's the structure of why it's from BS4 import Beautiful Soup instead of just the full import. You could just say import BS4, but you would get a lot of stuff that you don't need. So I guess a quick what is web scraping. The prior lecture on getting the weather kind of went through it, but web scraping is the process of automatically going out to the website and getting all of the HTML. If you've never looked at the HTML for a website before, you can do like I just did there. You can right click and say view page source, and that will bring back all of the HTML and CSS and JavaScript that is responsible for making the page how it is. All the little drop downs and all of the how it highlights different stuff, the format, where it gets the pictures, putting the names in. All of that is embedded in the HTML here. And Beautiful Soup grabs this information, brings it back in a kind of usable format, and allows you to search through it easily. So you can see all of these divs. You can see that it's pulling back like a JSON library of all of the information that it's trying to get. So let's see, how can we search through this? So Let's go back to our code. First, we need the URL that we're going to look at. So this is the URL that we were at, westminsterkennelclub.org best in show. It's pulling the entire page and then organizing it through Beautiful Soup. So it's looking at page.text. So page is all the HTML. Page.text is converting the just text version of all the HTML into an organized format in Beautiful Soup. That's why it's an HTML parser to look at the page text. Once we get the full text, and we can print this out. So if we print soup here is what I named the variable. So if you print soup, that'll be the full HTML, and when we run it, we can take a look. You'll see that that's true. This is looking through soup, which is our full HTML here. That's what we named it. And it is going to find all the cases where class equals this value, S article gallery info item underscore underscore subtitle. And we can see that that is within the HTML. If we go back here and press Control F, we'll open the find window here. We paste that in. We can see that that is the information for each one of these items in the table. So for each one of these listed items, that is denoting the name and type of the dog. So if we pull back find all, for that, it's going to, for each one of these items, it's going to grab all of those and put them in a Python list for us. And that's what this does. It creates a list and then loops through all of the stuff that Beautiful Soup found and appends them to the list. And we can print that out too to take a look. Doggy list. Kind of came up with some funny names here, but let's see. So this must then be the year. And if we go back and look, you can see that class is the year as well. And that's repeated kind of for each item in the table. You can see that it's all repeated over and over. So if we get all versions of that, or all instances of that name, we'll get the years as well. Also, let's do print year. And then this next step is taking that first doggy list. So if we look here, doggy list is actually the name and the type of dog, and we want to split those. We want name and type separate. So this is going to loop through all of the stuff that we put up here in doggy list, and it's going to separate them. It's going to look for the comma. It's going to look for this comma that separates the name and the type of dog, and it's just going to break that in half. And it's going to append the names to one list. It's going to append to the lists here that we've created and make a separate list for names, breed, and year. So that'll create the dog name list. So let's print some of this out. Let's give it a run and see what is going on here. So print dog name list as well. Let's put some spacers in here. Let's make it a very obvious spacer that we're going to use so we can see all of the stuff here. I don't know, T and S. So this will print 50 instances of S, and it just makes kind of a clear divider. So let's give it a run. There it goes. Alright, so it took a second or two to reach out to the internet and grab all that stuff. Let's take a peek up the chain here and see what we got. So we can see this is the HTML, which is the first thing we printed out here, soup. So soup is all of the HTML, and you can see that is going to match this source code. If we go all the way to the top of the source code, here, the HTML, you'll see the same stuff. HTML, language, header is what's flowing in here. So it successfully grabbed all of the HTML with beautiful soup. We scroll down until we find our big divider. That's why I put a big divider so we could find it, because I knew it would pull back a ton of information. Must be at the top of one of these lists here. Actually, alright, now that we've seen soup, let's just run it like that. Then we don't have to worry about all that HTML blocking us up here. Alright, so doggy list, what do? We went through all of the HTML that was pulled, looked for this class, and appended that to a list called doggy list. So this is the doggy list. You can see it found each instance of that particular class name, and within those are the years, as well as the name and type of dog. So now we're kind of narrowing down our information from all of that HTML down into the specific tags that we want to get back that have the information we need. We scroll down. Import. So now that we have those in nice lists, so we've seen doggy list and cruise up to our year list. You see all the S's. Sorry, it's a lot of information it's pulling through here. All right, so here's the last run we did, where it's pulling in the names of the dogs and putting them in a separate Python list, and then here's all of our additional information, our X's. So here are the years that it pulled, and then you can see after year, we've got all of our X's there, our divider. We're going to break that into a list that's the name of the dog, and the type of the dog, and the year that it won. So now, once we have a nice list of the information we wanted, name, type, and year of the dog, we can pick a random sample. Pick a random sample to display the here's what type of dog you would be. So we have the full table list, so I don't know if you wanted to use all of that data to do some kind of analysis. You could, which type of dog won most often, or if there were any dogs that won multiple times. You could look through for repeats of the name or repeats of the dog type. So you can get different information. I wanted to make it more of kind of like a game, so I just had to pick a random sample. So pick one item from that full list that we scraped from the web, and then give back the dog name, breed, and year. So it's going to pick one of these items, and then it's going to parse that into name, breed, and year. And then print out at the end, your dog name is blank, you are a blank, and you won best in show in blank. And in those blanks, it's going to put dog name, dog breed, and dog year. So now that I backed out all of our print statements, we can just run it. See, it takes a second, and then it just prints out this last statement. So pretty fast, just maybe a second or two for it to go visit the website, pull all the HTML, sort through the HTML to get the information that I wanted it to get, make a random selection, and give us one choice back. And now you can kind of run it over and over. It'll do the same thing. Reaches out to the website and pulls a random one. Kind of cool. So just a few lines of code to do all of that work. And you can look around the web, see if there are other websites that maybe have interesting information that you can try to get. The hardest part is figuring out exactly which class to pull, because it's a lot of HTML to try to dig through. You can see it just kind of dumped a huge amount of stuff into our code when we first pulled it. So it takes some work to view the HTML, really work through, match up all the components to what's going on in the website. Sometimes if you have a target on the website, like Scottish Terrier, right, you can copy that and then put that in your search and just be like, where on this website does it say Scottish Terrier? And then you can match that up to the web. So you can see Tickle 'em Jock, and it is right there. So you can see that's kind of how I figure out which part of the HTML is driving the display. So hopefully that was cool for you. I think it's really interesting, super neat that it's even possible to do that, I think. And if the code is a little confusing, find your own website. Find a new website, plug it in here. You're always going to want an HTML parser. Find the class on the website that you're looking at and plug that in here. And then use print statements to see what is it grabbing and what parts of that can we try to parse out and put into a list so that we can use it later. So if you come up with something cool, another website that you're scraping to do something fun or interesting with, you can email me the code at info@codezing.org and we'll post it to the site. If you have any questions, you can post those to the comments in the video. You can email questions as well. Our team will take a look and see if we can't help you out. So have fun, and we'll see you on the next one.